down quietly for a mile or two, and then gain the further bank. Then we might march along quietly until we reach those ships. The Danes know that we have no boats, and will not fear an attack. We must not do it until an hour or two before morning, when, after spending the early hours of the night as usual in feasting and drinking, they will sleep heavily. Just before we are ready to begin, a small party can unmoor 2 or 3 of the boats by the bank and push them out, one to the outside of each tier of 6 vessels, so that we may have a means of retreat across the river. When that is done we will make a rush on board the ships, cut down any Danes we may find there, and set fire to all the vessels. We must hold the gangways to the shore until the flames get well alight, and then take to the boats and return." "I think the plan's a good one, Edmund, and may well be carried out without great loss. There are plenty of empty wineskins at present in Paris. I will at once set about collecting 100 of them. We will fasten to each a stout cord so as to form a loop to go over the head and shoulders, and then we had best attach them all together by one long cord, by which means we shall float in a body. Fortunately the night is very dark, and I think we shall succeed. Say nothing about it, Egbert, and tell the men to keep silent. The good people of Paris shall know nothing of the matter until they see the flames dancing round the towers which they hold in so much dread." The Saxons received with satisfaction the news of the intended expedition. They had been disappointed at being kept back from taking any part in the fighting during the 2 days' attack upon the tower, and longed for an opportunity to inflict a blow upon their hated enemy, the Danes. The wineskins were fitted up with ropes, as Egbert had suggested, and soon after nightfall the party, armed with spear and sword, and carrying each his float, sallied out from the gates, as Edmund was by this time so well known among the citizens that the gate was opened without demur on his order. They crept along the foot of the wall until they reached the lower extremity of the island. Across the river innumerable fires blazed high, and the songs and shouts of the Danes rose loud in the air. Numbers of figures could be seen moving about or standing near the fires. The tents of the chiefs were visible some distance back, but the number of these as well as of the fires was much less than it had been on the first arrival of the Northmen, owing to the numbers who had gone to the camp round St. Germain. The night was very dark, and a light rain was falling. Before taking to the water Edmund bade his men strip off the greater portion of their clothes and fasten them in a bundle on their heads, as it would be some time after they landed before they could advance upon the camp, and the cold and dripping garments would tend to lessen their spirits and courage. When all was ready they stepped into the river, and keeping in a body drifted down the stream. The wineskins floated them well above the water, the stream was running strong, and the lights of the Danish fires were soon left behind. In half an hour Edmund and Egbert deemed that they were now far beyond a point where they might chance upon any Danish stragglers. The word was therefore given, and all made for the bank. The stream had already drifted them in that direction, and they soon reached the shore. Here the skins which had proved so useful were left behind, and putting on their dry clothes they felt comparatively comfortable. Edmund ordered them to lay down their spears and swords by their sides, and to swing their arms violently. This they continued to do until they were nearly breathless, by which time the blood was coursing warmly in their veins. They were now in December, and the water was extremely cold, and Egbert congratulated Edmund upon having made the men strip, for had they been compelled to remain in their wet garments while waiting for the Danish fires to die down, they would scarce have been in a fit state to fight when the moment for so doing had arrived. 3 hours elapsed before the glare of the distant fires began to subside. Another half hour passed, and then the band was formed up and moved along on the bank of the river. End of chapter 13. Recording by Mike Harris.